want to do is get the scale off the blade. Started getting a dimple in it. I'll heat it up and do it again, get a little more of a dimple in there. Stands for the alloy, and the 95 is the carbon content. So you can see there's a whole lot of carbon in a file, and carbon is what makes a good knife. So anyway, you got the alloys and the carbons in there. You can use a 1085 or 1080. There's 1075 steels. They all make good knives. They have plenty of carbon in them. You want to forge thick and strong. That's what we're doing over here now, and straight. And you want to try to keep it straight as you're forging. And you want to forge thick, because if you go too thin, you end up with a toothpick when you're done with this knife. So you don't want to. You want to have enough there that you can get the scale off and grind and be able to shape this blade the way you want. So you want to forge thick and straight, and not too hot. Right now it's getting pretty hot in there, but it won't burn up. Like if you got coal, you can burn it. So you don't want to do that. So you want to keep it at about an orangish to a yellow temperature while you're forging this blade. And Jim Batson taught us how to do what's called rat-a-tat. And rat-a-tat is how you straighten the blade while it's hot. And I'll show you that in a little bit. When we get there, we'll start just tapping on it to get it straight onto a flat surface. Then you want to have an even taper on your tang. The taper has to start thick up near the choil and taper down evenly on the sides and the top, so you have two tapers. And the reason is because when you put your guard on, your guard has to be able to slip past that tang all the way to the thickest part, which is up by the choil. So that's really, I think I spend more time doing that tang than I do on the blade. Still working on this choil. Carbon off of here. We'll straighten that up on the next heat, and I'm going to start working on the back here. We'll try to get this at a little bit of a point, and then we're going to work on the blade side, and that'll bring it up some more. Eventually we'll work on the tang, and the tang will be behind the choil. Try to get some carbon off. Every time you heat it, you have to get this carbon off of there. You don't want to beat that into your blade. Let me use the round part of my hammer to start forging the blade. You see that scale coming up? Get that scale off of there best you can. got to beat it back down with your heat. But as you see, when you start tapering that knife edge, it starts bringing that tip up, and that's where Scagel got that shape. So we're going to try to keep control of that before we get too thin on this edge. And I'll try to working on the edge, trying to get a nice taper on there, and it's taking too much of a point, so we'll keep beating that down a little bit. So we'll heat this up again, keep working at it. Won't take too much longer. We'll have the blade done, then we'll start forming the tang on this thing. But we're a lot thinner here than we are on the back. We want to leave the back thick. That'll all get ground off when you start doing your grinding. I have a belt grinder inside, and all you need is a 1x48, something like that. I have a 2x72. I got lucky and found one. It's very crooked still at the top, as you can see. We'll straighten that up. That's where the rat-a-tat will come in. But right now, we're still working the blade and eventually start forming the tang again. And now you got a taper for your edge that you can grind and start doing this. But you'll actually grind this area. You don't want to grind too far back, and you don't want to grind too far up. You should have an area there that doesn't come all the way to the back of the blade. So when you grind, you want to grind and leave an area and try to keep it even on both sides. It's kind of hard, and grinding takes another whole technique. So I do mine blade up. Some people will grind blade down, and some people use the right and left side of the grinder, and some people will only use one side, like the left, for both sides. So they would grind to the belt going this way. They would grind blade up, and then they would go blade down on the left side, and then other would do the right the same way, up and down on the right. I like blade up left, blade up right. So everybody has different ways, different techniques. Working on the tang area next. We've got the blade pretty well shaped. It's not 100%, but for this demo it'll be fine, I believe. And what we'll do is start working on the tang a little bit, and eventually I'll cut that back off of that file after it cools, and then after it's cut off, I'll be able to actually start tapering the tang down.